Welcome back, folks. We are starting our third match of the night. We are halfway through the session tonight. This one's going to be, we're dropping down to the lower bracket, or the decider match of our groups. So this first one's going to be Luminosity versus Titan, and then we're going to end the night with Dignitas taking on Conquest. Again, winner moves out of the group, loser watches tomorrow. So again, let's get right back into it. Luminosity versus Titan. They've already played once here. 2-0 for Luminosity to start it out. Starting with you.
Well, I mean, if we remember, what happened in that series was the map for Titan, they thought Cobble was where they were going to get their work done. Yep. They kind of got shown up a little bit, embarrassed a little bit then. They got 2-0'd as a result. But this is now a Titan that's come back today. They've beaten Na'Vi. That was a tough series. Had to play 3 maps. Maybe it can be different this time.
Yeah, but it's a big maybe, in my opinion. I mean, look, I've already put my money where my mouth is, right? So it would be hugely disingenuous of me to spend all morning wrecking Titan, and then one series later, hey, what's up, man?
To be fair, we did say Team Liquid was going to be good.
Je suis Charlie, like, it's just not going to work, right?
It does
change. The point here is, right, like, yeah, okay, Titan, they knocked Na'Vi out. A terrible Na'Vi. Right, like the worst we've seen Na'Vi. We don't know what's going on between now and them in the major. It's unrecognizable. It's not even that, you know, they're all playing bad, because Guardian, still pound for pound, could even be the best player in the world right now. He's going absolutely ham. So somehow Titan have overcome them. Now they're playing Luminosity, a team that already beat them, and beat them at a canter, beat them on their own map, and I just don't see Luminosity losing this one at all.
All right, well, let's start with the Luminosity roster. We'll take a look at that. And Thorne, why don't you kind of walk us through these guys?
Okay, so on the left here, probably the best player in this team, even though obviously with the arrival of Cold Zero, we've seen some great performances. You saw in this tournament, still an amazing player, still a really strong player in many areas of the game, very much set up to succeed within the team. And the man to his right, second from the left, Cold Zero, the new recruit, the guy they brought in for ZQK. He's definitely transformed this team. Suddenly they're a team that has a bunch of people who can have explosive performances. Had a great breakout at the major and has continued his form here. A number of competitive, consistent performances in this tournament. Man in the middle, Fallen, formerly a legendary 1.6 AWPer, quite a highly touted player. In this game, though, he's turned it over. He's become the tactician. He's the guy who studies the opponents, studies what he's going to do in his own tactics, and I think he's the mind behind why this has become a good team tactically. Then, second from the right, we've got Bolts here. More known, not so much, the two on the side, Bolts and Steel, less well known than the others. They're not really the ones you expect the Star Series performance from. They're just the stable ones. That's their job. Just be more the supportive role, a bit of entry fragging from some of them. Bolts and Steel, you don't expect a whole lot from them. It's the other 3 that have the star power.
I mean,
that's the balance in the
just
team.
Add to that, I think Bolts has actually had a pretty decent tournament here, and I think Steel is the one that's always kind of stood out a little bit as being the weakest link. But that said, Steel's had some nice moments this event, even though I would argue statistically he's the weakest player. But yeah, Bolts I think has had a good tournament.
And plus, Steel here, if you notice, has a little one of those up arrows, whereas the Steel I know, for my bad part, he's very much on the down
arrow.
Big down arrow.
Big down arrow.
No, when it comes
especially
to bank balance, of course.
Oh,
it depends.
That's on the way up.
So other side of the coin, we're going to have obviously their opponent, Titan. We have talked about them a lot today, but we're going to see that roster in just a second. Again, I'll have you walk through. Again, that's kind of the Shocks-Smiths battle, right? Like who's going to show up, who's not going to show up. We did learn earlier today in that interview I did with him this morning that Shocks is the confirmed in-game leader right now, for better or for worse. Here comes the Titan roster right now, so when it shows up, Duncan, why don't you walk us through these guys?
Sure, we'll start on the right-hand side now. RPK, I mean, his job in this team is be stable, don't die too much, just fit within the overall scheme here. And he does a decent job at that. He's a fairly consistent player. To his left, Existence, legendary in-game leader, one of the great minds of the game in both Source and CSGO. But, as we said, giving up the reins. He's now just going to try and be just a player. And in this sort of team, believe it or not, you'd want him to just be a supportive player, but sometimes they're needing frags from him as well when some of the others can't step up, such as the 2 that are on the left. In the middle, Shocks, star player, in-game leader. In many ways, I mean, if he wants to contrast himself against Happy, he's putting himself in a similar position there. Yeah. Let's see who can perform better with the vehicle around them. Obviously, Happy has much better players around him. Still a dangerous player, though, very potent in his game. To his left, his best friend, Smiths, also a former Envious player. Guys won a major in CSGO, was also in this lineup with Existence and the rest of them when they were the best team in the world, late 2013. To his left, Scream, the guy who's famously amazing, pure precision headshot bullet aim. Always had a great sense, a great flair for that. The rest of his game, Not as polished, though, or not as effective, or not as impactful. He's one of those guys where it's kind of hard to figure out why he doesn't have the same impact he doesn't, but something to do with style, a little bit of mentality, and then also he's never quite meshed with the French lineups he's been in, believe it or not. So he's a guy where I think the left two, you can easily put it like this. The two on the left are the ones that we expect the most from, who don't always manage to deliver. And if they ever could get anything close to consistent, maybe Titan would be a force in tournaments. Maybe they could develop an identity and a style. At the moment, it feels like Smith sometimes shows up, Scream's fairly middling, and so it's all on shocks at the moment and the occasional RPK performance. It tends to be that sort of a breakdown, unfortunately, for Titan.
Now, back when Scream was going, like this is way back, you're talking like 2013, back when he was the human aimbot and he had like 90% headshot ratios at tournaments, like 78% headshot ratios, like over really long drawn out tournaments, everyone was like, this guy could be the best player in CSGO right now. But he had that style that was flamboyant, it looked amazing, every kill was a highlight reel. Then the game changed, there was an update. You know, and his style of play, the AD&D sort of movement, wasn't as effective. He's never come back from that. And this is conceivably the player that people were talking about was one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. And ever since then, he's just been this guy who I think really flatters to deceive. I've never been sold on him overall as like a top player. Honestly, that's what I think. Controversial.
And again, you brought up Cold Zero. We're going to talk about him in the key matchups. But again, how crucial is it for him to play well on that Luminosity side?
I mean, for this particular game, maybe not so much. He doesn't need to carry the game or anything like that. But I feel like it's the arrival of Cold Zero and then consistently being good to go along with Fair, who had that role before, consistently good, real star player. It's really put them in a situation where you put Luminosity against Titan, suddenly they might even have the slight edge in terms of raw fragging power because they know who's going to turn up and in what particular sense. So I've seen them against a bunch of teams now, against Cloud9, even against Fnatic. Those guys went head-to-head with the Olaf Meisters, Crims, JW of the world, and they came out favorably. So at the moment, I only get more impressed by Cold Zero and this combo, Fair and Cold Zero. They're suddenly becoming one of the good 1-2 punches in this game. It's not many of the teams have a consistent 1-2 punch. We talked about Na'Vi earlier. They don't have a consistent 1-2 punch. They have Guardian, and then they pray one of the others turns up and is stable there. So I think that's a great foundation to add to good tactics, to add to prep work, a lot of solid practice. You've got the buildings here of a team that, hey, maybe we could go crazy. Maybe one day Luminosity could be the 5th best team in the world or something. That's not impossible when you've got that foundation you're building up.
I think what I like about Luminosity as well is they're so good on particular maps because what Cold Zero is doing is he's picking up that secondary AWP and being really effective with it. This isn't like Titan where it's like Shox is kind of being that secondary AWPer and you've got Smith who's your primary AWPer. I mean, Fallen and Cold Zero, when they double AWP on the maps where that's kind of viable, that's a real threat, both offensively and defensively. So I actually like what they're doing right now. They can switch their tactics up, and if that second AWP is needed, they've got a very effective secondary AWPer, which all the top teams have these days.
It looks like the video is about to start, so we're going to take that screen and start talking about the maps. Now, again, a reminder, these guys did play in this group already once. Cash was the first map, 16-6 to Luminosity. Second map was Cobble, 16-10 to Luminosity. You see any changes in anyone's picks or bans being thrown away now?
Well, I think both teams are willing to play Cobble again. The question is, if you're Titan, do you really pick Cobble this time? I wonder, after seeing that last map, is if Titan actually, crazily enough, might try and pick Train. If they really think to themselves after the Na'Vi series, hey, maybe we can do this, maybe this will throw Luminosity off a bit. Dust 2's another map, Titan 1 in there.
That would be balls of steel. That would be absolute balls of steel. Again, no pun intended. That would be balls of steel if you were to do that. But I can't see them doing that. I mean, at this stage of a tournament against a team like Luminosity, I think that's too ballsy a play to make.
The thing is, the bans usually for Titan, the #1 ban is usually Mirage. And after Mirage, you're looking at something like Cash or Inferno. These are the sorts of maps that they want to get out of the pool. So I feel like Mirage would be a pretty sensible ban here. Historically, one of the best maps for Luminosity. I think for Luminosity, the pool's pretty wide open. If I'm a Luminosity, in fact, I might ban Train for that reason. I might go, well, listen, we played you on Cash last time, messed you up there, beat you even on Cobble, don't mind playing you there. Dust 2, obviously we're fine on that. Historically, not so great. Inferno is usually maybe one they'd consider banning, but I might just ban Train and say, I'm not going to let what happened against VP happen to me.
What I would be thinking, here's what I think Luminosity might be thinking. I think they were like, hey, yeah, okay, we beat them on Cobble, but not because we were a great Cobble team. We went into that one because we had to, because of the way we'd done the veto, and they actually... and they're better now. They're better today. They've solved their problems. They had a good win over Na'Vi on Cobble. I might be thinking about removing Cobble if I was Luminosity.
That does leave the Train in, though.
Yeah, which is obviously problematic.
Which might
but
be
then
a
it's
crazy pick.
Yeah, but then it's like you say, it leaves it there, and then it's, hey, your move, creep, as Robocop might have said.
I wouldn't be
Reference
surprised
game on point.
if Titan actually try a Dust 2 pick here. I think that wouldn't be out of
I think
entirely out of the
Luminosity would
question for them to
recommend
do
us
it.
to. We didn't get to see it last time. That was going to be the decider on the randometer, wasn't it, in the
Well,
previous
the
series?
interesting thing is, Luminosity don't play Dust 2 very often. That's the thing. They won all against Cloud9. They had a win in the past. It's not a map that comes up that often for them. So actually, it's kind of a risk for Titan in that sense. You're picking a good map for you, but one that you don't have a lot of data on what the opponent does on it. And I don't think you can take the Cloud9 game some sort of gospel on how they're going to play the map, because it was one of the first breakouts for Cold Zero. Again, Cloud9 suffering heavily on that map. So it's hard to kind of gauge what you're going to see there. Then again, for Luminosity, likewise, they can't take what Titan did on Dust 2 and say, oh, just like Nip versus Titan on that map. I mean, very unlikely you'll see a map like that again from Titan.
So, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, again, you can say that Luminosity. What about Overpass?
I've got to say, I'm looking at this screen right now. Everyone's playing Deathmatch. No one's going to be picking them up anytime soon here, guys.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting to hear.
Maybe we jumped the gun a little bit.
No,
on
no,
this
no,
one.
but so let's keep jumping it, right? So what about Overpass? Because I feel Luminosity are a capable team on that map. I mean, is
Here's
there any
the thing.
chance they might want to bring that in?
They'd be willing to play that.
Yeah,
The question
Titan.
is Titan, because what's interesting is Titan tried to work that in as a desperation map at the end of the Kenny S Apex series.
And it didn't work.
Wasn't really that good. Hasn't really been working since then. So I feel like the question is, would they ban it? I don't think they'll ban it outright. Therefore, it should be available. So it wouldn't be a bad curveball pick for Luminosity. The thing is, if I'm Luminosity overall, when I think how the first series went, when I think of how Titan looked a bit rocky even against Na'Vi, I'm probably going to try not to do any crazy picks. I'll probably try and just go with them, get maps I think are strong, let them do what they want in general. There's nothing we have to be really afraid of right now. And so, as a result, everything it's really on Titan. It's up to Titan what they want to do here. If they want to go a Dignitas route, take some crazy picks, try and throw a curveball, or if they really believe, I don't think they do. You see the lack of confidence. If they believe, well, we're better than Luminosity, which didn't show it in the first match, but we're here now, another chance, they'd pick their strong maps. That's what I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, this is where we get to take the temperature.
Here,
with
there we
Titan.
go. You don't want to. They didn't want to risk what happened earlier
No,
today
that's
against
fair,
Virtus
that's
Pro.
fair, that's fair.
Understandable though. It's not a bad pick.
And obviously Mirage, we expect the Titan to ban that.
Absolutely standard.
So this is where it gets interesting. Obviously, it's over to Luminosity now for the pick. So what are they going to take?
I'd pick Cash after what happened last time. It's available.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah,
We
why
wrapped
not?
them on it last time.
There
There
you
we
go.
go.
There you go.
Okay.
And now here's the question for Titan. I think it's going to be Dust 2 or Cobble. So did they just go for Cobble and going to say, hey, you know what? Fine, play it again then.
Out of those
Run it again.
two, if I was Titan, I'd want to take Cobble. Out of Dust 2 and Cobble, I'd want to take Cobble. And then, and then in the randometer, they could have got Dust 2, they didn't, they got Inferno. I still think this is a good series for Luminosity, frankly.
Titan has their chances, though. Titan's not appalling or cut Cash. The thing is, you have to figure, because of the order of it, if Luminosity win Cash, it's going to feel for Titan like, wait a minute, I've seen this,
Yeah.
I think this story play out
Deja
before.
vu.
What happens here exactly?
As the French might say.
Yeah, an exact recreation of yesterday. So
The difference being the Inferno obviously is the decider. So look, I'm still going to go with Luminosity here. It could even be a 2-0 again. I think this time, the original prediction we made when these two met was that Titan were going to take Cobble. There was nothing statistically. Keep in mind, it was the weakest map for Luminosity. I think it still is, even if we factor in yesterday's statistics. So Titan, and a very strong map for Titan. So I think Titan have got to take it here. Obviously, they're looking a bit more lively. They've got better form. But Inferno, I'm giving that to Luminosity.
Yeah, I mean, the way I feel in general about this map, Vito, is I think Cash is pretty solid for Luminosity.
Yeah.
Titan can play it, but they haven't shown us any reason why we'd expect them to win on it. So I'll take Luminosity to win Cash. I think Titan can win Cobble, so I'll maybe pencil him for that, but I think Inferno will go to Luminosity. So the problem I have on the Titan side is, fragging-wise, I'm liking Luminosity right now. They're doing everything right. I know where all the fragging's going to come from. I have no clue for Titan who the second or third best player is going to be. There was even a game here where Shox was bottom fragging, so there's nothing to rely on Titan. They haven't got good tactics. They haven't shown me that either. So I think every factor is on the Luminosity side, so I'm going to go 2-1 for Luminosity.
Yeah.
okay, and you basically are both saying 2-1.
Yeah.
Gonna go to Inferno.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be one of those days where it's the teams now realize this is like put up or shut up. Go big or go home. So yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of all the series.
Put it this way: if Titan choose Cobble twice, one of their best maps, statistically their best map,
Yeah.
and they lose their map twice and to the same team, at that point, something drastic has to change it. Because you're not playing Fnatic or someone. You're playing someone where you're getting to pick, in theory, one of their weaker maps and one of your stronger maps, and you lose it twice. So that would be the end of the world for me. So I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm certainly on the lookout for it if it is, because I can't see how they're going to continue.
Well, I think people have got to start showing Luminosity some respect now. After the performance at the Major, you know, just how good they've looked in the build-up to that. They're forming the Pro League, how they're playing here. People, you know, they've got past the hump of we can win a series now. You've got to start showing some respect to these guys.
So again, we have a matchup coming up. It's going to be Cold Zero versus Shox. So again, kind of leans in Cold Zero's favor, but again, Shox is the in-game leader now, but he's also supposed to be the star fragger. Double duty for him.
Yeah, it's an interesting contrast, actually, because here you've got Shox, one of the kind of old masters, goes back to Counter-Strike Source. You know, this has always been one of the top-tier players, one of the best players in the world. I think he's taking on too many responsibilities at the moment in this team, trying to be a secondary AWPer, an in-game leader. You know, I think it's too much. But anyway, then to contrast it, you've got this kind of new guy who was brought in, you know, very inexperienced by contrast, was brought in to be the explosive. Fallen said in an interview recently, he was the only player we wanted. We knew if we swapped it up and I moved to the AWP and we brought this kid in, we would be super, super explosive. So this is an interesting kind of contrast. You've got the Phenom on the rise versus the Phenom who's kind of in this existential funk right now where he doesn't even know what he's doing with the team he's with.
Existential Funk, great name for a concept jazz album.
Awesome stuff.
Which I'm going to record shortly after this.
Now, that brings up, a conversation about Shox. You know, when we were all in Serbia at the World Championships, self-triggered, sorry. You had a really deep
the lights,
and like
the lights,
the food, a failure. You had a really like existential, if you will, deep conversation with him about philosophies of life, philosophies of why he plays this game, how he plays this game. Kind of walk us through that.
Well, okay, so what he said to me, and again, I've already talked about it on one of the shows, and I know he doesn't mind.
Alpha Draft.
I know he doesn't mind me talking about it. But it was basically, he said to me he would rather like place 5th or 6th in a tournament with friends and people he cares about and can have a good time with than win championships with people who he couldn't connect with. Now that's all well and good, actually. I can almost respect that. But when you're just coming rock bottom at tournaments with your mates and you're as good as Shox is, I've got to say, as an outsider, that's a bit of a waste. So it shows you his mindset. He says he can only play from the heart. He can only be Shox. The comparison he used was, he goes, you see some players that are just like robots. You know, he says, for example, MBK. He said he doesn't play with his heart. He plays with his head. Shox has to play with his heart. That's what he says. But MBK is probably, again, really one of the best players in the world, instrumental in NBS's success.
I mean,
so I know which one I'd rather be.
I can relate, because in many ways, Shox has been playing with my heart for all of CSGO.
Oh.
Yeah, but actually, if you're a Titan fan, this guy does play with your heart consistently in and out, because you never know which Shox is going to turn up. It's so deeply frustrating for me, because I've seen him play all these years, and he's such an amazing player. His skill ceiling is so ridiculously high. He can be the best rifler in the world, and yet he seems to have this duality. On the one hand, he's saying, I don't care about winning. On the other hand, he's saying, hey, I'm in-game leader now, kids. Listen up. So which one is it, brother?
Yeah.
Pick one, right?
Maybe his deep because you were obviously devil's advocating, playing the other side of it. And maybe Uncle Richard gave him a little bit of life advice, if you will.
Let's not go that far. Here's what I will say. I genuinely, obviously there's a lot of players in the scene that I genuinely like and genuinely care about and have followed the careers of, and it would be tragic if at the end of CSGO, Shox looked back on his career and realized he could have done so much more, because a player that good, a player with that level of talent, he should be looking at a glittering trophy cabinet. He should be looking at a sports car, a big house, loads of money in the bank. And because of his personal philosophies, he's held himself back a little bit, and I think that will continue to be a problem for him in this Titan side as it stands.
Well, what makes him unique is he's one of the few players, I mean, another one I can think of, an obvious one, is Simple, where based on their talent and what they can do with a gun inside CSGO, they could be on the best team maybe in the world, in their region. Certainly, they would be with all the best players from their country. The only reason they aren't is through choice, and that's choice of personality, who they want to associate with, how they want to behave. So they're very unique in that sense, but that gives them a compelling factor to them, because they play for lower teams, but we know they're of superior quality.
I've said it, it's a soccer reference, so might go over the head of some of the audience here, hopefully not. But for me, Shox is the Counter-Strike Cantona. This enigmatic character who can turn it on, but he's got this personality that sometimes can make it incredibly difficult for him to realize this is a job. That this isn't just about, you know, the poetry of Counter-Strike. Sometimes there's got to be a bit of professional reality brought to the table as well.
Hopefully Shox doesn't drop kick an Envious fan.
I think it could happen, man. If it was going to happen, it would have happened at the Major, right? So, look, at the end of the day, phenomenally talented individual, but it's frustrating when you see him in a team that underperforms.
Again, still speaking of Titan, we don't talk much about RPK when we're talking about superstar stuff, but kind of give us a little details.
Look at the glow on his face. He looks like he's looking into a microwave that's got a chicken spinning around it.
No, but like, look,
Succulent.
I'll tell you this.
Oh, he's looked away.
I'll
Lost
tell
the
you,
staring contest.
I'll tell you this about RPK, right? So this is another great example of a player with no ego, right? Because this guy was one of the most decorated players in Counter-Strike Source history, won every MVP going in Counter-Strike Source, is considered the best rifler to ever have played the game in Counter-Strike Source, by maybe one or two other names that would get into that debate. And then when he came through at the start of CSGO, he was in the team that many thought was going to be the best team in the world, and actually, you know, he was putting in good performances against the NIP team. He left predicated on lots of things. First of all, we didn't know where the game was going to go. We had no idea it was going to get this big. Second of all, he had to play and sit next to Kenny S, who was in his super sort of the terrible twos, if you like, slamming his fist on the table and raging. And RPK's like just such a relaxed dude. He couldn't be bothered with it, so he walked away. Now, since he's come back, he's just a soldier. He just gets in there and he just does what he has to do. He just listens to instruction and just never rages, never gets upset. If he could get to 80% of where he was in Source, this guy would be wrecking people. But it just hasn't happened for him, and I think it's such a shame. And the average CSGO fan hasn't seen the best of this player. Gotcha. There's a reason why everybody from that era respects him. Put it that way.
And now, the other side of the coin, you want to add something to RPK?
I mean, the thing about RPK is I had a friend of mine who speaks French look through some of the POV videos when Titan played some of the majors and when they played those tournaments that had them, the ESL ones. And he showed me, he transcribed a few of the sections. And when he got to the RPK parts, he goes, look at these sections here. And basically, Existence was pretty much telling RPK every step to take in the game. Go here, go back, come back, wait, no, go. Okay, in a second you go. So he was almost having to individually micromanage what the guy did. Yeah. Existence isn't an in-game leader anymore. I'd love to know what the dynamic is there. Does Shox just say, oh, go over there, RPK, and go in on 2 minutes, because that might not be what RPK is capable of doing. So I wonder if that's kind of left RPK out there, or if he now just plays a bit more safe and goes with a pack or whatever. It'd be great to know some of those dynamics, because you wonder when you see their T-sides fall apart what the issue is, because they're one of those teams that goes too slow, but not for any good reason. And so it hurts them, and that's a coordination issue, I feel like.
And this guy is on screen at the moment, Fallen. Obviously, just since he picked up the op after they got rid of ZQK, it's really reinvigorated the team. He's been the spearhead for the team. Incredible performances, both just in terms of really flamboyant, exuberant kills, highlight reel stuff, but just doing the basics, getting stuff done, not afraid to go aggressive, supremely confident, seen as that Brazilian, like, heir to the throne of Kogu, you know, when he came in. And what I love about this guy is the balls of steel this guy had when he came out, and he was reviled by the 1.6 community because he played some Counter-Strike Source tournaments, and he said Counter-Strike Source was the more tactical game. And actually lost a massive swathe of his fan base based on that, but he played every version of Counter-Strike. Perhaps, but it was his opinion, and even his own fans wouldn't respect
Drunk,
it.
of course.
Drunk, of course.
But this guy was actually really, really good in Source, went to a few tournaments,
for sure.
Been good in every version of Counter-Strike, and as I said, absolute monster with the AWP, has transformed the team since he picked it up.
And basically kind of their spokesperson, does all their interviews, like great, like out-of-game leader and like ambassador to the team for sure.
Just like I say, for me, a Counter-Strike legend. Really got a lot of respect for him.
And he's not done yet.
No, absolutely not.
Others, flip it back over to Scream. Kind of give us some Scream background.
I mean, this is the guy where he was around towards the end of CS Source, but he was so young and he was playing in smaller teams, you know. At the time, the LAN scene was very, very vibrant, and they had a lot of small LANs. So you would get chances at the time to play against top teams depending on which small LAN you were doing, especially in France, they had a lot of LANs. Coming into CSGO, it was only a couple of months before everyone very quickly saw, like, this is a guy actually who has talent. He has this crazy aim. People started making highlight videos. He was playing for the imaginary lineup. People were saying, oh, when's he going to join Very Games? That's the thing. Very Games needed something to get them over the edge against NIP. People thought, right, it's Scream. If they can put the headshot machine in there, if they had more raw aims, at the time, Nip just looked like they were out-aiming everyone. If we can get someone else in there, that'll make us win. Ironically, you bring him into the lineup, better aimer than RPK, for example, but they brought him in the lineup. They actually didn't have another second place for a while in terms of a tournament that Nip was in. They started to drop down a bit more. Suddenly they were losing to people who weren't Nip. So That's not entirely Scream's fault, but it is a factor that Scream's always looked better when he's in teams that are just general teams where he can play a little bit of free-for-all, do whatever's comfortable for him, and get the kills that for him are easy. When he's within a system in any sense, he's always struggled a little bit, never quite found his place when he's been in very games, when he's been in Titan. And so he's come back now. He is a little bit looser in general, but I feel like he's not someone who follows orders that well.
Yeah, and I think it's no coincidence that, you know, he looks like an anime character, and his fan base is a little bit childish in their outlook. I think they all want him to sort of be this amazing, like, headshot machine. Every round is like a 1v4 incredible clutch highlight. You actually need somebody that can do the fundamentals in your team.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. We are going to get this thing started. First map is Cash. Walking you through it this time, the Rebels from Romania, Henry G and Sadakist. Gentlemen, it's all yours.
They're getting better every time, though.
You know what's better is when you actually let someone that's creative come up with them instead of
exactly.
Lewis.
That's what I've been saying. Anyway, though, here we go. We get into this series here. It's going to be Luminosity starting on the T side of Cash. 4 sets of armor for them. Fallen going to be the utility player going. It looks like 4 players, actually 5, heading towards that B bomb site. No aggression shown from the French side either. Just going to be Shox there by himself. And here we go then. They're going to make their way into the B bomb site.
Shox does spot that first one, and they did jump across like you often advocate. This does limit him, though, the smoke in front of Shox, but he still finds bolts through it, so one goes down. Either way, bomb's going to cross. It'll be planted. Look at the rotation. It's not coming from a traditional defensive approach. It's going to go on the flank. It's up to Cold to spot it, to shut it down early. He definitely hears them coming. How many elephants in the room? No, and there is going to be 2 dead already. Cold's got 2 very quick kills, a third from the mid-air. Existence gets absolutely denied, and now it's RPK to claw back into it. They're only down 1 man considering all the kills, but that's changed. It's now going to be 3 left alive for for Titan, and Luminosity hits the ground.
Cold Zero, an absolutely insane 3-man there from Toxic. Unbelievable stuff there. The interesting thing is, though, yesterday when we played this map, Titan actually did the 3-man push into B storage. This time they go for the full stack on A, leaving Shock isolated on that B bomb site. And that's where most teams will go. Luminosity going for the stifled rush into it, and just wreck the bomb site. Shocked in that first frag, and as soon as the rotations came in, Cold Zera cleans up. Of course, so Titan will be forced buying into this one. Shox is going to have the scout in hand. The rest of his teammates on Desert Eagles and P250s. Not out of the woods just yet. We know what Titan can do with these weapons. Seems like Luminosity just spreading out, feeling out the map, seeing if they can work out where the stack may lie. That's not going to help, though. Existence taking down Steel with the Desert Eagle headshot, bringing it to the 5-on-4.
Scream now getting close to that A main position as well. Fur, he's going to walk up, try and evaluate what's going on toward Quad. Flash goes in, Scream takes the peek. Decent damage dealt as well onto Fur and doesn't get caught, in fact. Bolts opened the door and tried to get him before he could fall back into Forklift. They're definitely smoked out right now. They're limited and they're losing HP. It's all a problem for the Brazilians, as you say. And Smiths is still going to wait in this corner, knows that door's open. Flash comes in, it catches him. He's going to be fully blinded by this. So has to stare at the wall. That allows Cole to pick up the kill. And they have to move towards Slide. That's denied as well. Bolts with the second kill. And they have turned this around, despite being so low on HP. Shox does get cold. There's still a chance for Fur to go down quite easily here. And now the Deagle hitting onto Bolts as well at 17 HP. For him, but bombs planted, and that's a big aspect to winning this round. Fur, he spotted the last player. They know they're walking onto the side. It's Existence who gets one. He has to reload. They need to address the peak, but Fur comes around from behind. He'll get the win for them, and it's 2-0 for Luminosity.
A decent round there from Titan, but unable to translate into a victory there. Existence opening up the Desert Eagle, and the thing for Luminosity, it looks so dangerous for them. They had 5 players committed to the A side of the map. They had no positional control anywhere else, so they can't really decide to go back towards middle, back towards B. They just won't know where the CTs may be hiding or lurking in the back there. So forced to go into the bomb site. Luckily, they find that first pick as they make their way into the site. So managed to recover it. It's going to force Titan now onto pretty much a full eco here. They have a couple of P250s purchased. And it seems like Luminosity is going to be boosting up to middle, scouting that area, and seeing whether they can work out where the CT players may be. They're going to be spread out across the map. 2-2-1 setup. Just one player towards that A bomb site. That's going to be Smiths. Now getting some backup towards mid, leaving middle completely open. So with the boost coming in, you'd imagine Luminosity probably going to take advantage of that situation. There you go. One player making his way out. It's Cold Zero with the Mac 10. He's going to give the call off. The mid is clear, and they probably go into an A split at this point.
Yeah, Shox is going to wait on top of the site. Palm's waiting. They're definitely trying to evaluate. This is the interesting part of this, though. Cold's got all the way through mid. He definitely divides either way, and A is the better option right now, seeing what we can from the overhead. With Shox only on the site, the stack at B has not been sorted yet. Cold, he didn't really go much further than just toward that CT spawn. If he tries to evaluate, he knows Screams come out from B. He could figure this out, and Fallen inside the vents, he could do it himself, but this is a good call. Bomb's still going to head back over toward A.
So we've got one CT player lurking in that smoke there. It's actually going to be Shox. He's got past them. They're going to be on the A site. He may be able to find a kill as the bomb does get planted. I think he will get planted. Shox can do anything. He will find a kill here, takes down Steel, but it's not going to be enough as the rest of his team are getting absolutely mowed down towards City Spawn. Shox with a double though, with that P250, he wants more. Gets the third, takes down Thor as well. coldzera punishes him, brings it to the 2-on-1. It's just going to be RPK remaining. All the way towards the B-bomb side, won't be able to do much with this. Taking down the 6 HP and finally dealt with by Cold, but Shox making that round expensive, finds 3 kills of the P250. Nice work from him. That will be boosting his money going to this first gun round. This was a problem yesterday for Titan. On their CT side, didn't only think they got 1 round in the second half of this map, so we haven't seen much of them on this map on this side so far, so let's see what they can bring to the table. Only got 1 kill on them, not a massive amount of utility. 1 incendiary on Shox, so middle's going to be a problem if the fast boost comes into it, so going to round number 4 now.
Yeah, Shock's going to lay out that smoke early as well, just to make sure that Cold can't get a progressive peak. Fallen hasn't taken the AWP toward middle, so that will deny things slightly in terms of timing. What he's done is taken it over toward B, where rather than play someone in toward the site, they're actually going to cover this off from a boost in vents, and existence that plays it. Smith's good pickup inside of A main, finds Fur over top of the smoke, and Bolts tries to respond knowing that that shot came from Slide, but he can't find the angle through the door to even do any damage to Titan, so that gives them a very good situation on the first gun round.
Yeah, absolutely. That first pick means everything to Titan. They know they can sit back now. They don't have to force the issue. The ball is definitely within their court. So now Luminosity trying to work a pick anywhere they can, following that AWP towards B. Smoking off checkers. Got to decide to go back towards middle here, see if he can make anything work. The thing is, no CT players there apart from existence in the vent in a very defensive position. It's working for information here. They have got 2 smokes to play over, make that 1 now. So potentially going towards A, smoke off highway, and then force the issue, try and flashbang out and see if they can find a pick. That's not going to help though. Shox taking downfall, and that's the York player. Bolts replies though, still the advantage in favor of the French side.
Interesting. Existence was inside vents and chose to rotate back through B with RPK. He could have been on highway already at this point with this much time gone, and already has setting up a crossfire with Smith. Good flash in regardless. Smith takes the peek. He does take down Bolts, but Steel, he took out Scream before that, and this is the point. They could have had this rotation done and dusted already. It does still work out. Titan with 3 alive. They'll get the first round, and crucially the first gun at that. And having seen a few upgrades come in, look at the money situation on Luminosity. They hardly have a buy this round. In fact, they can't even force this.
Yeah, well, they've got coldzera, who can justify something. He actually goes for the AK-47. That's interesting. I'd rather save that money to the next round and be able to drop an AWP, for example, utilize it in that way. But they've gone for him on a full buy. Obviously, one of the most explosive players at the major recently. Why not? If he feels like he can make something happen here, probably will get boosted up. Got to be going towards middle and see if he can scout out any CT headshots here. That's not going to help, though. Shox takes down Steel to open things up. He's going to be pushing through mid-main as well. Takes down Fallen. Will he make it 3? Doesn't quite get it just yet. He's going to be running out of bullets here, but that last bullet, that will help. Takes down the 3rd as well. That's a fantastic play there from Shox.
Look at Cold, though. He managed to get over that boost and sneak in behind them. So he does take 2 down with the AK. Exactly the play he needs to make right now, but not only that, he needs to put himself in a position where if things go not according to plan, if they backfire, he needs to be able to save that AK into the next round potentially.
Well, they've got a FAMAS on Bolts as well, so they've got 2 rifles. It's definitely viable, I think, going for this. With the bomb in hand and 1 minute remaining as well. 1 kit on the RPK is definitely is possible. They need to find 1 more pick to open this up and spread the CT bets a little bit thin.
Absolutely, so try and push forward.
This is Smith.
Divide, yeah, this is actually a really good position for them to try and come up from highway, but like you're saying, Smith is walking out toward mid. He's going to be slightly late, so what that means is he's actually going to have to turn back and try and retake with RPK. Should Existence not be able to shut this down, and timing is everything. Existence looks away, but does. In the right moment, stare back at Cold's entrance, shuts him already, and now Smiths comes into the fold because even though Existence is smoked off, he'll get toward highway. Won't matter. Existence has the kill, and Titan has their second round.
Yeah, Titan looking really solid here. They're getting the first picks. Shox that great play towards middle as well. Seems like they're actually not making huge mistakes here and actually guaranteeing themselves rounds, not being overzealous in these clutch situations, making sure they hold sensible angles. We saw the lurk coming in the back as well, just pincering the T's and working out where they were. So good work from them so far. And Luminosity now not going to have much to bring to the table apart from this quasi-buy, basically meaning they had about 2k left over after their little purchase of upgraded pistol here, some body armor, and they've got some grenades as well. I'd assume it's going to be an AXQ here with 3 smoke grenades purchased. Going to try and smoke off some key areas of the bomb site, trying to get a bomb down. That's the headline here. Force a post-plant situation and make it a little bit uncomfortable for the CTs.
Scream's going to wait there in the corner, look for the flash to come in. He's not even jumped up on the barrels right now. He's going to try and play this with motion, with mobility. As Fur in the corner as well, waiting for the flash to come in from his teammate. He pushes into Catwalk, or rather, excuse me, on the forklift quickly, but Scream's still not spotted. He takes down 2. Shock says for beforehand, and there's not even an entry kill in sight.
Wow.
It's Cold to get 3. He somehow turns it around as he struck out Squeaky, and it's back to a 2 versus 2. HP, though, is definitely stacked against them, as Cold will go down, and it's on Bolts, has bomb. They are forced away from the site slightly, but not a chance really to plant it. He has to take the peek, and Existence holds on true. It's now 3-3.
So they did the execution with the smokes there, not getting the bomb down. Wasn't the ideal situation for them, but Cold stepping up, finds 3 frags, at least makes it an expensive round for Titan going forward. Now, this is where things get interesting. We go into a full gun round here. Existence has picked up the AWP, going to swap it over to Smiths this time. Who is going to be wielding it? Yeah, it will be Smiths, but no AWP for Luminosity, so it'll be interesting to see how Smiths decides to pick this one. He has got a decent spawn towards A. Could go for that A main pick or possibly Squeaky Door if he was feeling aggressive. Looks like he'll be doing the latter as well, going straight to the Squeaky Door, opening that up. Not going to find anyone there just yet, though, as Luminosity go for the mid control here, boosting up Cold's Era.
Smoked inside his own fence, is able to peek through it. That's actually quite clever as Cold Zero goes down, and Shocks will follow that up. Bolts, though, he's pushed back down toward his own T-spawn, and Smiths is in position to catch him. He hasn't hit that shot, but now they know he's here. Doesn't still land it. Either way, it's not looking likely that Bolts will be able to do anything in this situation. 1 on 5. Flashes toward mid. He tries to do what he can, but he's already surrounded. Even if he wants to save this gun, they're going to push his position quickly.
Yeah, not really much he can do in this situation whatsoever. Remaining player in a 4-on-1 situation. Shocks knows where he is, and this is the discipline I was talking about. Titan actually showing they need to keep this money situation alive, and there's been a huge problem in this tournament, getting themselves into situations they have no cash available going forward. So they're just going to allow him to try and work this out. The objective purely not to let him plant the bomb. They're in great positions as well. They've got control of B storage.
He's actually may sneak by RPK if his timing is correct. Because RPK has been moving around so much that Bolts actually gets an entry into the site. So exactly what you were saying, the objective to stop him planting the bomb.
I'm not really sure how he's been allowed to do this. He looked like in such a passive stance right now.
This is,
Bolts can't believe his luck.
misplay. This is a big misplay. If he gets this bomb down, that's just extra money that should not be going to the terrorist camp. And he may do, even if he wants to plant right down the safe spot. There's no way to stop this. He's absolutely got the bomb plant. And they realize it now. It's too late. RPK's mistake, and he pays the price for it when he goes back in. Bolts suddenly makes this a round that's interesting, like, as you say, should not be. They have every angle held, and
nice
Titan make a mistake. They will recover the round. It'll go 4-3, but Luminosity, that gives them so much more to work with in the next round, and a money bonus that hits its 4th round total means that they'll have a decent buy.
Yeah, looking at the setup Titan had, I thought they had that one tied up, but maybe trying to be a little bit too clever with their holds there, just leaving the bomb site fully exposed, an extra $800 coming into the accounts of Luminosity, and you can see how that actually affects things, because they wouldn't have been able to buy this round without that plan. That's really interesting how they've allowed that to go down. We go into another rifle round here from the Brazilians.
Just want to talk about the simple scoreboard right now. It's a battle of 2 men. Shock's on 12, the next best on his team on 6, but Cold is on 14.
Wow.
The next on his team is 4.
Interesting. Well, we've got a double AWP setup now for Titan. 2 turrets on either bomb site. Smith's going to be towards A. That's going to allow Existence to anchor towards B by himself, but there's 3 Luminosity players lurking towards him. Just a distraction play going on towards A from Bolts. He's trying to pull some CTs over to that A bomb site before the guys make their way into B.
He gets caught, but still manages to turn back at Shocks that actually bails him on that flank. Quick shot from Existence, able to hit 1, almost lines up 2 through it, and they'll overwhelm them. He gets the kill, but RPK's fast on the flank. They hear that vent break, so they'll turn their attention back toward him. Means they have to slow their push onto the B site just a little while. Shocks is able to get steal as a result because he's still lurking in the wings, coming around from that that T-spawn flank, and Smiths gets fur. So it leaves it all on Bolts, 1 on 3. Scream low on HP. Shock's not much better off, but Smiths is full, and they've got a kit on all 3 players.
Once again, an unwinnable situation there. Smiths gets the final shot, brings 5 rounds to plays 3 in favor of Titan going forward here, and a timeout coming in from Fallen. I think this is probably a wise idea. It looks like Titan finally, since that slump they were in yesterday, have taken down Navi now, and now they're against Luminosity, looking in a very strong position as well. They've broken the economy of their T side. They've got about 3.5k average across the board, so be interested to see which kind of play they go for next round. I'd assume they're going to go for the Tech 9s once again and try and possibly get a post-ban situation, but we've seen it hasn't really worked out for them too much. They're getting the smokes down towards A, and it seems like Scream's just pushing through the smokes, finding the first pick, and not allowing them to even get a bomb down in that scenario. So it'll be an interesting prospect how this one goes forward. It seems like Luminosity are playing a very slow game. They have been trying to boost up towards middle, but they haven't been forcing the issue too much, like boosting 2 or 3 over, for example, and swarming that area. It's been quite slow pace from them, and we haven't seen too much of that tactical execution we talk about too much, especially like the full smoke tactics. We've seen them on their eco rounds, And we know they have a great B execution as well. They probably could bring that to the table. Now they've established just existence there with the AWP. Full smoke play, Molotovs onto the bomb site, go onto the side in that way, maybe from a mid-split. That would be a really good move from them, but they need to work out what's going wrong here. It seems like they're losing the first pick pretty early on in the round, and players like Smiths is pushing into squeaky door with the AWP, getting great information. No map control really gained from Luminosity at the start, so questions need to be asked right now as to what's going on, but Titan, how many rounds? 5 rounds in a row after losing the pistol. They're looking very strong right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the interesting thing is yesterday, this was the map Luminosity took convincingly. It was actually Cobble, which comes up next. Again, Titan's map call.
Yesterday was 16-6, right, in favor of Luminosity. And now Titan looking very strong, definitely in the driving seat here. You can imagine Luminosity is working out how they approach this round. I wouldn't like them to purchase into this one. When you have about 3.5k on the board, the best you can really afford is some kills. If you really wanted to force the issue here, still early stages in this game. Don't need to force the issue too much. Go for the Tech 9 buy, keep the money around 2k, go for try and get a bomb plant down, and then you've got to put yourself in a healthy position in terms of the economy going forward.
Keep in mind, of course, Luminosity did lose to Mouse Sports earlier today to not make it out of the group first
true,
as
so
well,
like
0-2.
Those storylines, right? So yesterday...
And not to mention, just to finish that point, in the first map of that game, they had something like a 9-1 lead at one point.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that game was on when we were casting earlier, right? We didn't get to watch that one, but it's interesting enough that Luminosity beat Titan yesterday, and now today, they've lost to Mouse Sports, and Titan have beat Navi. What the hell's going on today? Whatever, but here we go then. We're looking to get back into this one. It will be the Tech 9 purchase coming in from Luminosity. Not going to be forcing this one too much. They've got 4 smokes once again, so presumably going towards the A bomb site once more, trying to get that plant down in any way they can. Maybe they're going to mix things up with this pause. They're trying something a little bit different, maybe towards middle. But Titan's set up here. 2 players towards middle. Once again, it's just going to be Smiths with the AWP anchoring the A bomb site on a tighter angle this time. Luminosity slowing down the play. Here come the smokes over the top of the building.
This is an interesting rotation as well because Titan's already put 3 people on the A site. So with Smiths holding that more tight angle, as you mentioned, Shox is able to get close to the garage door. And not only that, they've got a 3rd man that's come up highway. So they've weakened up their mid. It's Scream that's going to be the 3rd one there. Existence, because he had vent control, was able to pop out. It leaves RPK solo, but so far it's the correct read. And not only that, Shox, he gets aggressive to not find information, but a kill. And that's going to make it all the harder for Luminosity to try and get back into this round. They desperately want to try and fall back and regroup, but it's not going to happen. So as long as Shox is here, he's a thorn in their side, and they try and push forward. The flash comes in, it actually favors Shox even further. Wow. Surely they thought with 2 players committed toward him, they'd get that kill, and it backfires. Steel finally puts him down, but it's still a 4-on-2 in favor of the French, and the timeout, well, whatever they talked about, certainly didn't pay off in this round.
It's a little bit too readable, but it's going to be a 4-on-2. Bolt's coming out of squeaky door. Just going to be still remaining with this AK-47, but the point I wanted to make is it was so obvious they were going for something a little bit more tactical. They hadn't really shown any presence anywhere on the map, so Shox took matter into his own hands, got flashed into A main, found, 3 kills going into it. It's completely locked down whatever they had in mind. That's a really nice read from Titan. Don't allow your enemies to actually execute fully onto the bomb site, especially when you know you're in the driving seats in terms of money there. So he locked it down, found them before they even had a chance to show their hand. So really nice play from them and a good showing from Titan so far. 6th round in a row for them. Now Fallen gets back on the AWP, so a change of stance going forward. He's going towards B to challenge existence of that AWP, but they've changed their setup as well. They've actually flashed in. They're going to be pushing, going aggressive. It's really nice from Titan. But Steel comes back, takes down 2 players, and brings the advantage in their favor.
And they need to hold this advantage because finally it's something to work with. Steel's on 19, but swaps to the AWP. And Titans smartly don't pursue that. Even with 2 more members on the B site, they fall back. They don't want to give up any more men. In fact, this is a smart boost because now they're going to go toward that vent inside middle. And with the bomb way back toward T-spawn, they can actually elect to bring the 2nd man out of B should they so choose and stack up on the A site with just that vent control. It's a bit of an early gamble to make that decision, but if Scream finds enough information early on, and with that smoke already in a pre-execute position, that he could make this call, and it looks to be exactly what they've done.
Luminosity is working out how they can take advantage of the situation. 4 men alive. We're throwing some strikes to the A bomb site now. Scream getting to himself towards quad. They've got Molotovs. They'll be able to flush him out.
Yeah, they're going to try and work in this existence. Hasn't seen anything come back toward middle. So Smiths and Scream, they'll be the ones under threat. First trying to hit that shot. Smiths able to dodge it behind the smoke, but Scream's still waiting for the entry, and it's going to be a Molotov to pull him away from the quad position. Steel, as he tries to run, will hit the shot, but Scream's got 2 in return. He's still in the corner. He's able to get a 3rd. Finally, Cold has had enough.
A little bit scary there for Luminosity after getting those first 2 picks to open up the round. Scream getting 3 as they execute on the A site. I feel like they were a little bit too delayed there, a little bit apprehensive getting to that bomb site. After flushing him out, he picks up 3, but coldzera keeping it in their favor, brings the 4th round on the board. And that's the 1st and 6 after winning the pistol there. So getting himself in a decent position here, but Titan definitely have enough money to buy into this one, but not too much after this. If Luminosity are to win this round, they will finally break the economy of Titan. Double orb setup coming in once again. It seems like Luminosity going for that slower paced style once more. Smith's actually going towards the squeaky door. They're going more aggression here. He gets taken down. That's one of the AWP players, and now it's going to bring Scream pushing into A main, trying to get that kill back potentially.
I'm surprised how much Titans actually changed their playstyle in the last 2 rounds, getting more aggressive, because they aren't the one that have to dictate this right now. They had a lead that was comfortable. It's actually up to Luminosity. Not only that, in this round, they've just reset a max loss bonus, excuse me. And you go out and give away the first pick like that, you're making it a lot better for Lumi to pull this half back into something of a salvageable scoreline. Bolt's going to get Scream. That adds to the total. It's now 5-on-3. Shocks, though, is in this corner, and he's going to wait. Finally takes the shot on Bird. Drops down. Knows they have to be on the inside of the doorway, so he gets Bolts as well. That puts him at 20 kills already, and we are in the 11th round. And RPK getting fallen brings this back to a 2-on-2 as well, but they've read this correctly. Steel's already inside the B site. Cold's going to go over. It's a free plant and a heads-up battle for the post-plant situation with no kits up.
Yeah, it's a massive issue here with no kits and an AWP in hand. They need to work out. They know if they don't win this round, they're going to be onto an eco next. So obviously they can go for it for the first 10 seconds or so, but if they don't find a kill pretty quickly, it's going to be in a difficult situation. They're still in a very advantageous position towards CD spawn. Existence now trying to find any pick he can. He has spotted a player on the bomb site.
Existence going to take the fight, lags him on the first no-scope. That gives Cold the shot, and now with this rotation of Steel towards Heaven, they'll be able to close out the round. That's 2 consecutively, and again, Titan go for that early pick. It haunts them because look at the money.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So they go into this one with absolutely nothing now. Luminosity getting their 5th round on the board, and the thing is, Titan obviously trying to dictate the flow of that round. They're pushing into Squeaky Door that time. The round before they're pushing the B didn't work out. This time they're trying to force towards Squeaky Door. They're trying to lock down the tactical approach Luminosity may be taking, but they're just ready for them. They flashed them off, took down 2 kills, and just dictated the round from that point. And now we have Titan onto a pretty much full eco here. There's some P250s and a Desert Eagle, but not really much it can do. This is Luminosity's round to lose. They'd have to make a huge error here. Go down in this one. Potentially looking at 6-6 here going forward.
Knox is going to stay in that close angle. It's worked out for him so far, but in doing so, again, with 3 members on the A site, although with pistols, you can understand the reason for stacking. It gives Cold that entry point from mid, and he's been hot as well. That's 16 kills now for him. Bolts, the door open, is going to try and catch someone in transition, but Scream's turned his attention back toward Highway, knowing that Cold's taken over mid, and Cold's just going to wait patiently. Even smarter from him not to force this issue and just wait for anyone in rotation. Bomb's still toward the big garage at mid as well, so they aren't going to overcommit. They know the situation. They know it's an eco. And with guns up, there's no need to take any unnecessary risks.
Absolutely. They have 45 seconds remaining. They're just going to make sure they stay together. Bolt showing a little bit of aggression towards the A side, trying to pull some CTs over. But Luminosity will be falling into the stack here. There will be 2 players on the B bomb side waiting for them, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue here.
And RPK actually double stacked in this corner. Is going to go down early, but will they anticipate the second man here? Scream, brilliantly done. 2-1 Deegs, but Existence, he's definitely going to be sitting in the corner. He's going to just wait this out. Furry doesn't hit the shot, though, and that gives Steel the angle on him. And surely in the 1-on-3, it was never going to happen, but it would have been interesting to see him at least pick up the first kill.
Yeah, potentially could have stayed alive a little bit longer there, but there we go. Scream finding 2 Desert Eagle kills. Not going to be enough to hold off the Brazilian side. We're going to round number 13 now. All of a sudden, Titan looking a lot weaker. They haven't got a single kit. They haven't got that double orb set up here. No incendiaries either, so those fast boosts are going to be a problem. Luminosity decide to do that, so all to play for this round. Titan definitely against the ropes, falling with the AWP. It'll be interesting to see what he does. Looks like they may be boosting a player up towards middle as well. Perhaps maybe going for a more faster A strategy here. They've just got 1 player towards the B storage, which is Steel.
They failed it. It's very rare to see Titan fail that jump. We talked about that yesterday from LG's side.
Yes, that's right. They've failed about, what, 3 or 4 times.
It was entertaining, at least.
Yeah. That's something we can take away from it.
Entertainment is everything. And Existence, again, is going to get in that vent. They're actually going to clear the cubby. There hasn't really been a forward presence so far from Titan toward middle. It's actually been very passive. And with no AWP how to get in this round, it's going to be similar with the rifles. 3 men back toward A. It's becoming a little bit too static from Titan, you have to say. And you know, I called them out for getting too aggressive and changing the play style, but that was when they were in the lead. Now it's almost like it's becoming too readable, and it's interesting to see if they will put more on mid to try and compensate for this.
Looks like Shox are going to flashed in now. This is exactly the way we should be doing. Getting in, gets the intel as well. A team kill works, but Bolts reply straight away. It's still a 4-on-4, and with the economy the way it is, I'd still say Luminosity have the advantage. They have the smoke grenades and Molotov still, waiting to see what the CTs have left.
Going to be a late boost in mid as well, so Existence has come back out. Nope, they elect to do differently. It looked like they were going to put Cold up on top of Steel, and Existence, okay, they did, so Steel went up on Cold. My mistake. Minimap misled me either way. That was perfect because Existence was exactly in that position. He left the vents, he was in the open, and by taking down mid, it forces a hard rotation. But what they've done is actually sold this brilliantly. Smiths is going to find Bolts. That's going to convince them even more. Now RPK realizes it's all gone to B. Bomb's going to be planted right now, and they are nowhere to be seen, nowhere to stop it. And RPK, the best he can do is try and take out the planter because there's no need for them to cross into the site. They can play this from the vent room, and the CTs, they've got no kits again.
Yeah, this is a really difficult situation for them. They need to find a kill right now. Time ticking away, and here they come, making their way to the site, but it's going to be all over there. In a matter of seconds, they find all 3 kills. Fantastic stuff there from Luminosity. You can see Titan sweating a little bit now. This game is running away from them. They're going to be on yet another eco going forward, and really nice stuff there. Bolts fulfilling his role so well. They're going towards that A site. He's been lurking there so many times and is getting so much attention pulled over towards that side as well. RPK has left the bomb site completely. They've given a fully open site there, and it's really difficult to see how this one's going down after Titan have such a convincing campaign with 6 rounds in a row. Starting to slip away from them now. They're going to be on Desert Eagles this time, all across the board. Falling once again with the AWP, they're going to slow things right down once more. And there's the first pick from Steel. Shox trying to push through that smoke, gets punished for it as well as we go to the 5-4.
And Shock's going down early. He still sits on the 20 kills. I say still as in like it's unimpressive. Yeah. It's a ridiculous total, but it's been quiet in the last few.
That's right.
It's more to the point. Bolt's going to try and find the lineup again through that doorway with the AK. It's a double boost right now, or inside, or rather just a single, but 2 men is what I'm trying to say, Henry. But 2 men waiting to slide, so he won't be able to find that. Just to the left side of those 2 members is where those bullets pass. Either way, Fur, he's got the pre-aim set, but they duck down. Could Scream pop up and hit the headshot. He's known to do so. As Fur wants to look back out of that same angle, and now as they enter, he's going to be looking the wrong way. So Scream gets at least 1, but Cold comes right back into him. And suddenly Smiths, they know he's here, is left in the open. Good shot from him to take down Bolt. Looks for another one on Cold. And it's still waiting for the rotation right now of Existence as he goes down on the site. It's left at Existence, 1 on 3. Bomb's going to get planted on A, and they know he's coming to at least the truck side. He might fall in here, but inside the fire, there's not much of a chance.
Absolutely not. That's another round on the board for Luminosity. Only 1 more to go as we go into round number 15 here. Titan do get a decent buy going forward. Smith picked up the AWP. Existence could do as well if he decided to. Wouldn't have any utility to play with, but he'd have armor. So just working out how they're going to approach this one. Hasn't purchased anything just yet. He's going to go for the rifles here. I think that's the right decision here, considering the bomb's getting planted almost every single time. So Smiths, he's going to be going back towards A. Is that turret play? And sending 2 players towards B as well. Luminosity not showing their hand just yet. Going to be spreading out across the map and waiting for that CT aggression that's been presented to them a couple of times now. Smith finds that first shot. Questionable face there from Fur. Not really sure what he was hoping for. He gets punished for it. Goes to 5-4. Bolts towards that squeaky door once again. Smokes out. Maybe deciding to commit to this as well.
Scream's going to try and line this up right now. Fallen on the inside of the doorway. Is concealed by the smoke, won't be able to pop out quite so easily, but Fallen will take a second stab at this with the bounce flash, look for the quick entry. Down 2 men already, they need to hit the next shot or it's all but done. And he's going to evaluate at least what's going on toward Catwalk with that AWP. Scream knows the door's open, so he'll fire into it. Smiths, he's going to take just the most slight amount of damage from that nade as he stands on the ledge. That allows him to re-peek onto Bolts quickly. And again, the next kill, it had to go the way of LG. It gets even harder. It's fallen down already as Smiths hits the shot against him through the doorway. And Cold stuck in behind the forklift, finds at least 1. He's got the skill to make this work, but they need to be careful right now from Titan not to peek at the wrong time. And they do go together. It works out for Shox. And it's an 8-7 half favoring Luminosity.
Yep, nice little round there to finish things off. The full buy working out for them. Smiths getting that opening frag. I felt like Fur overcommitted to that peak at the start of the round, threw the round away potentially. But back and forth affair there. We see Luminosity opening up with a pistol round. They get to the 3-0. And then Titan came to life with 5, what was it, how many in a row? 6 in a row. And then it was just, that's when the momentum shift once again. Luminosity get 5 in a row, and then it ends up 8-7 half in favour of Luminosity. So obviously on the T side, Cash is a very balanced map. I'd still say you want to be making sure you win your CT halves going forward. I said it's slightly favoured towards them, but still all to play for here. Luminosity definitely known for having a strong CT half. So
this definitely is, by the way, a battle of 2 men. 22 kills total for Cold. Here it is. Look at that. 22 kills for him. Shox on 21. Next best is either of their teammates. Take your pick on 12. 129 ADR for Cold. 136 for Shox. Pretty nuts, actually, when you think about it. And Scream's also over 100 ADR himself. So goes to show you that the rounds that even when Titan lost, they were better contested. You could look into that from that statistic, but also that Scream is able to pick up that much. It's just adding to the weight that his teammates carrying it. A lot of assists. You'd expect that some of those kills go Shox's way.
Yes, Shox looking incredibly strong right now. You can see both teams probably taking full advantage of the freeze time we get here. Just got to work out how they're going to approach a pistol. Obviously, it's going to be absolutely massive. You saw some mind games coming into it. That 4-man stack towards the A bomb site from Titan on their CT half. That was a weird decision from them. Like, most teams won't go towards the A bomb site on the pistol. If they do, it's going to be a very slow process. So they decided to send one player towards B. The B rush comes in, and then they don't capitalize on that. And it was like, I think that's going to be more of that, this pistol here. Like, people trying to overthink things and potentially throw the round away by trying to counter what they think may be coming here. So I prefer them just to play a traditional CT setup. I'd assume Titan will do more the same. Delayed B rush, perhaps. Contact B, we call it. You wait for the CTs to push. If it doesn't happen, you burst into the bomb site. Try and ignore checkers and just swarm the bomb site and kill the player on there. So that's going to be obviously a huge point in this game. Titan need to win it on the back foot here, going onto their T side. They have got a reasonable T side. We saw it yesterday, you got 5 rounds against Luminosity, but it wasn't very tactical. It seemed like they were Shox being the in-game leader on this side. It seems like he's trying to do that loose play style. I feel like they're more suited for the executions on this sort of map. They need to get their players into positions where they can actually find the kills here. When you're just waiting for picks, spreading yourselves out, and then just going in and forcing a bomb site, it seems like they're a little bit sloppy going through those sites sometimes. I'd like to see them have a hybrid setup of having the simple executions and allowing their players to get out into bomb sites and actually utilizing the great aim they have here. If you have Shox and Scream playing the way they are right now, it can be very dangerous on the T side of the AK-47s.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, that's the thing with the AK. It's just that much more lethal, especially when you have the accuracy. And as you say, Shox is definitely on form. Scream's not far behind it. It's just that Shox was a lot more aggressive. A lot of his kills came from being flashed into that A main position as well. Yeah,
that was really nice play though, because they're actually reading. They know that Luminosity slow things down, and they're not going to allow them to execute fully onto the bomb side. If you're flashing into A main, forcing issue there, even if you just find one kill or even do damage and don't die, that's enough to secure a round, because at least you've got the call out. Okay, there's 2 players in those storage. You can pretty much take an educated guess as to how the round's going down. You can rotate players over, leave Existence alone towards the B bomb site, and that's what they need to be doing. There was a problem for them before. They weren't gaining enough information. They're sitting too far back and allowing those executions to come into them. But it looks like we are getting into it now. It's going to be the second half here. Luminosity on the CT side, 8-7 in their favor. It'll be interesting to see whether they go for some aggression here on the CT pistol. Let's have a look at the Titan buy coming in. It's RPK, Scream on armor so far, Existence on the utility play. So Smiths as well. He's got a smoke grenade. Kind of suggests they may be going towards A actually. So not going to be choosing to go towards that B bomb. So they're going to be smoking off towards highway, maybe towards quad, and trying to force an issue here. And a stack coming in from LG. They're expecting that B rush to come.
Yeah, exactly. And not only expecting the B rush, but this is more common because A is a lot easier to retake. So they're going to play that position. Steel's got the only kit, and he's actually inside middle right now, so he can rotate either direction. It'll be in a regrab even if he goes down, but they're not necessarily going to take A right now. They want to take mid and keep the options open to themselves, as Titan right now have Shox, Scream, and RPK. They've committed. They're through the vents. They have to go toward this stack. There's 3 men waiting, and they need to read this. Cold, he spots the first ones, and the man in the corner right now, Fur, is going to take down 2. As they weren't looking in that position, it's all falling apart. Titan, they aren't even going to get close to a plant at this rate. Scream's going to look for the counter shot. Does take Fur in the end, and RPK will get fallen back. But leaves Cold in the corner, and he's down this time. RPK, he's had some decent pistol rounds throughout the weekend, and this is another big one for him because suddenly the round is in favor of Titan. Bomb gets planted. Bolts, he's forced outside of the site right now. He's going to have to come in through CT. In fact, both of them are. He and Steel together. And Bolts is only on 7 HP, so he has to hit the first shot on the head, and it doesn't work out. Scream takes him down. RPK concludes it. 3 kills total for him in the round.
Yeah, huge round from RPK. He was strong on these pistols in the major and pulls out another big performance here. Big round for them to win. But the problem for Titan in this tournament so far is they keep losing the second round going forward after winning the pistol. So how is Luminosity going to approach this one? It looks like they will be going for the force buy here. CZ's coming out. And some 5.7s it seems as well. So still a difficult round for them, considering they've gone for 4 SMGs as well. Actually, 1 Tech 9. So 1 AK-47 on Scream. The rest of the guys on lower weapons here, so they're going to be boosting up towards middle. Potentially, I'd say, get Scream up there. He can scatter it out, go for those tap shots. The stack coming in more towards B here from Luminosity. Just going to be Smiths trying to scout that area out, see if we can get some information for his team.
Steel is going to be the one that gets aggressive for the peak. Cold's going to wait in the corner, same position that Fur played last time to try and catch them off on the entry. We saw Fur again, he picked up two kills from that position, but once more Titan want middle. It's RPK to take Fallen, now they can fall back. They don't need to overcommit, and once again back through the vents. There's no one in the corner this time because after that kill, they've rotated all the way back inside the site. Cold, he's gone to heaven. And Steel, he's going to take a little bit of damage from that nade that gets lobbed through. They're smoked off regardless. Bomb's going to go down. Shock's the one to plant it. And all 4 members right now from LG are going to come from the CT side. They managed to pick up at least the first kill, make it now 2 for them as Cold. He's going to take down Existence. The trades continue on, and suddenly Scream's left down into a one-on-one. Manages to get Fur, but Bolt is going to nail him immediately after. And they've got plenty of time to get the defuse.
Literally the same thing that happened yesterday. If you remember, this time, Titan came in with a much more methodical approach. Yesterday, they did full-on rush B, ran into the stack, and we kind of called them out saying, well, you want to boost up middle, you want to feel out the map, then you can go towards B. They literally did that this time. They played it perfectly, but the retake coming in from Luminosity was absolutely fantastic there. They come into the CZs, completely pins to the bomb site. That last kill, one-on-one, Scream and Bolts. Bolts capitalizes and takes the victory here. But they got the bomb down though, so Titan will be able to justify a force by going forward. They've got AK-47s coming out on 2 of their players. The other 3 guys can be on upgraded pistols, but they've got a full arsenal utility. So execution definitely possible going forward. They can do the wall of smokes going down, get a bomb plant down. It's still with those AKs. It's still very competitive here going forward. Seems there's some aggression here coming into A main though. Fur decides to get better of it. It looked like he was going to go for that initial pick.
Fallen and Shocks are about to do battle in mid right now. Fallen is peeking this. He's already sprayed in toward that big garage as we've seen, but Shocks has gone toward the cubby. Existence it's actually going to wrap around. He takes the shot, takes him down initially, and now they can try and pinch onto this A site. Cold's a little bit late to stab them from highway as well, but Bolts, he's going to come up big. Taking down Scream on that initial kill is so massive, and Fur goes back in from A main. It's another round for LG. It's going to be 10-8, but much closer again still than yesterday.
Yeah, that round wasn't very convincing for me from Titan. I think they could have done a lot more with that. Tried to split between middle and A. Didn't really make anything of it. Found 1 frag on their force buy here, so they're going to be pretty much on a full eco going forward. They've got P250s. Can't really justify much else in this round. Luminosity in a very advantageous position going forward. It gives you 10-8. We're going to round number 19 here. Seems like it's a full-on A rush coming in from the French side. Not going to have much to play with apart from 1 flashbang.
Nade goes in, that's going to bounce off the wall and actually come back and land almost on their feet. 50 HP left for Smith, 36 for Scream. Fur's going to line them up. He takes down Smith. He's got this option for the second one, and it's Shocks to follow into the grave. He's also found the off angle from Quad. Cold to get Scream, but Existence at least manages to make it interesting by getting another kill, making it 3 members remaining. A bit of a reinvestment required from LG, but again, it won't matter. They're on 11 rounds now. Yeah,
they've got money to reinvest. Obviously, it damages their money slightly, taking down 2 frags, but the headline here is Titan don't really have enough money to get an AWP. They haven't got the full inventory of grenades they require to execute on the side properly. You can see Shocks has just got 1 smoke grenade. They've got 2 Molotovs, so it's not a horrible buy, but no AWP for them to work the picks here. So it'll be interesting to see how they approach this round. So potentially maybe going towards the A side of the map here. Distance waiting for the pushes through that smoke. He's getting boosted up on red box in mid-warehouse. No aggression being shown from either team just now, but Shocks is getting towards that squeaky door. Potentially just going to be showing some aggression towards that, maybe pull some CTs across.
Slightly missed thrown on that smoke as well, so Cold still has an angle on this. RPK needs to be careful as he searches for more information on that B site. Has managed to at least get around the corner and hug the box. That puts Cold further back. And he's the only one right now on B, so if he wins that battle, RPK can quickly walk in. And it's going to have to be a rotation from mid to try and compensate for the difference. Fallen's going to be in the open. The exchange is going to come in, mind you, and it's Scream to take down Fallen, but not before Steel could get Existence, so this still leaves the man advantage in the favor of LG. And the bombs in mid, they're going to commit. Problem is that if they wanted to split right now onto the A site, there's really no chance in doing so because initially, until Shocks got that kill on Fur, they had absolutely no control of A main. They've gone up highway, they're on A, and Shocks is still late on the rotation. So with RPK going down, it locks Scream at the top, and Shocks is going to have to act very quickly. Scream's managed to lurk a little bit further, and Bolts is stuck in behind Quad. They'll pinch onto him. Surely he's got to go down and Scream. It's an easy shot. Now they can go for the bomb plant, and it will be the rotation from LG.
Yeah, 2-on-2 situation. Bomb getting planted. CTs obviously have got kits here, all to play for. They need to get a decent crossfire set up here. Shocks on very low HP as well.
Steel's going to be the first one to enter. Flash comes over top. Shocks just going to wait that out, not even play for the peak right now. He's only got 11 HP. Steel, he's got 46. Slightly better position to be in, but Scream's taking his teammate. He's got to do this 1-on-2, and Scream's going to get both of them.
Scream just having a huge individual play there. Existence almost threw the round away at the beginning of the round, is walking out middle for no real reason. Gets taken down there, but Scream capitalizes, gets himself up towards Highway, undetected towards that quad position, finds the first kill, they get the bomb down, and he does some fantastic work there to keep the Dream alive, at least for a couple more rounds, as they do get a nice healthy buy here. Smith picks up the AWP, and now there's Luminosity making a questionable decision. They've gone for a force buy, 3 rifles, 2 pistols. They'll be on a double eco if they lose this round, so need to be very careful with how they approach it. Looks like 3 Titan players making their way towards A storage.
See if we can do it this time. Bolts, they did it on the first try. This is an improvement. That's the first time in a week that they've done it on the first try. So we'll see if Bolts can make it pay off. Perhaps it's foretelling of what may happen when they do walk into this A site. Remember, guns are up. This is a big round. As Titan want to be the first to execute. Bolts looks to the corner to a dodge, flashes. He's going to do it again, and they check it. He doesn't even manage to pick up a single kill. He did, in meantime, get Existence, but they've got so much control of this A site. Now, good flash in from Fallen to try and push forward, but Scream, he holds his composure. He's managed to take that kill back, and Fur's going to try and do it by himself. Flash in, takes down the bomb planter, 55 seconds. That won't make too much of a difference. It may allow Steel to get a better angle, but RPK, again, just with the Deagle, is able to pick up 2 kills. It's Cold to follow up, does drop RPK, and now it's a 1-on-2. Cold only on 19 HP, and he's stuck on top of the site. The problem is, look toward Highway. We saw it on the X-ray. He has no idea. And even if Smiths hadn't hit that shot, Shock certainly would have.
Problem is now, Luminosity got themselves in a very dangerous position. Eco, potentially 2 of them, depending on how they buy into this round. They could have just waited, Eco'd 1, and still had that decent cash to go into this round, and not had to take that huge risk going into it. But Cold Zero currently set on 26 frags, having a monster of a game. Titan now, they're going to be aware of the money situation after seeing that hybrid of M4s and pistols going forward, so they can play this a lot slower now. It'd be theirs to lose, considering the Luminosity just have some P250s going in. Scream's going to be leading the charge straight out towards mid. No messing around here, and we're going to have 1 player Fallen behind the sandbags area just waiting for them.
Fallen, he's going to get limited in right now. Those nades do so much damage. Shocks is going to peek this as well. He's holding the angle. Fallen's really got no way out of this position, except for Patience. Although if Patience works, they did look away. His accuracy does not. And Steel now waits on the inside of the vent toward the B room, but look at this boost. Fur's going to go back up over top. They know mid's been given up. And from that range, the P250s is effectively ineffective, if you will, and Scream's going to get the shot on Bolts. LG are just sitting ducks at this point.
Managed to find 1 kill onto Fur, taking down Smiths there, but shouldn't be too devastating here. Titan are going to be aware, swarm their way onto the B-bomb site, and it's just going to be 2 players remaining, Cold Zero and Fur. Fur actually picks up an AWP here as well, so it'll be very valuable if you can save that weapon. Obviously can't win the round, so just going to be making his way towards T-spawn, it seems like. Maybe getting a little bit too close to the action. There it is, he's going to get spotted. I'm not really sure what his idea was going forward. Probably could have just waited the 35 seconds as the bomb was planted and try and save that. Would have been very valuable indeed, but decides against it. Luminosity is still not with the best cash here. Can't justify an AWP whatsoever. Going to have Famises on 2 players. Fur going to be on the M4, Fallen on a Famis as well. So another difficult round here as we go into number 23. Seems like the momentum has shifted. Titan definitely in the driving seat now. Smiths with the AWP. Scream now stepping over the frags as well. He's hit 24 kills, taking over Shocks as well. So he's stepped up in the second half. Really has arrived on the server.
That nade doesn't quite go far enough to do damage on the 2 Titan players waiting inside those tunnels. Fallen, going to try and get himself in another good position toward mid. It's the wall of smokes, but look at Shocks' position right now. He's going to just sit in this cubby. If Fallen even tries to retake towards those vents, if they hit this B site, which they look to do, he could get taken down by Shocks, who all he has to do is wait at this point in time. Molotov bounced off the top of the window. That forces the second man away from the site, back into the corner, and that allows RPK to just enter in. He's been back on form as of late, it has to be said, and another double kill in this round for him. Scream, he takes down Fallen. Bolts will at least trade the frag, but that's just simply at this point for exits. And Shocks, again, he was already in mid. He catches the transition. Fur's going to have to just fight to save this gun. That's
actually a really sick play from Titan, you know. They've actually got Shocks into a perfect position, setting themselves up that B execution. It's such a perfectly placed set piece going into it. Molotov's going into the side, smoked in key positions, send RPK in as the point man, like he said, stepped up recently, finds those first 2 kills on the bomb site, and then we've got Shocks waiting towards the vent as well. They know they can't get shot in the back. It's actually a really nice tactic from Titan. It's nice to see as Shocks at the helm of this team, getting that together and making a really convincing strategy there. So, once again, Luminosity is going to be on another eco. They're going to have CZs, Desert Eagles, and P250s. Another round you would favour towards Titan now. After yesterday's performance, it seemed like a different team approaching this cache. And now they go into number 24. Luminosity can't really do much of this round. They need to find some sort of headshot with the Desert Eagle from Bolts. going to have any chance here.
BK nails Steel despite taking a bullet to the face himself. Leaves him on 27. But Shock's getting Furs, another 2-man advantage for Titan to work with. Round 24, getting to the bitter end of it, and they may take a 2-round lead if this continues forward against these pistols. They're trying to search for information. They're trying to force the issue into these B tunnels. They get far forward, but that only just means running into RPK again. He's going to take Fallen this time with the AK-47. It's Cold and Bolts. And I think they'll just sit back and let this one go.
Yeah, not really much Cole can do in this situation. He's got the CZ in hand and 5 angry Frenchmen searching for him as well.
I don't think they may not find him here, but it doesn't ultimately matter. It's not like he's saving much other than a CZ-75.
Exactly.
They're going to buy in the next round either way.
He's just kind of hoping that someone may run into his crosshair and he gets an AK. Maybe can save it at the last second, but not much to report other than that. It's Luminosity now looking down the barrel of a... They have got a decent buy coming into next round. They're getting to maximum loss bonus next round. So after you lose 5 rounds in a row, you get $3,400 coming into your bank account. So with the 2K they currently have, at least they're going to have a nice healthy buy going into the next one. That means they can get the AWPs out. I wouldn't be surprised if they went for the double, you know. Get Cold Zero on the AWP, get Fallen on the AWP. Let's try and get those turrets on either bomb site, and then we can have the 3 rifles towards middle.
Well, we'll see what they come up with. They are going to go to it, Lords. That Smith AWP versus the Cold and Fallen choice.
There it is. I know what's going on.
Way to go, Henry. You're a bro.
Yeah.
But that's 5 rounds now in a row for Titan to make this comeback possible. Again, that does mean that's why they got so much money on LG's side, but it also means they'll reset it. So they need to stay pretty efficient if they want to pick up this round.
Well, this is the setup we kind of called coming in. They've got 3 rifles towards middle. But this might not be the best play considering Titan are making their way towards the A-bomb side this time.
That puts pressure on Fallen. He's playing from quad as well. Fur, he's just going to watch to make sure no one gets up on top of the drop. And they've got that second man right now in toward the vents position. It's Bolts to support, but Steele's slowly working back up highway. He needs to get there and be in the right place at the right time to even help Fallen, because we know they've got utilities on the French side, and they do not even need to use them. They just walk in. Instead, they fire out just one Molotov to flush Fallen into the open. He's not able to hit the shots up close. Does manage one at least on RPK, but it's too late. They've lost everybody else, and Shocks will take him down. Bolts manages one more, but Smith's back into him. They've got the sight, they've got the bomb planted. Cold Zero's going to miss one shot, and unfortunately with the smoke now deployed in front, it means it's far less likely that they can get back in. Steel, though, mind you, has now picked up 2 kills. Smith gets back into Cold, and it's a one-on-one. Fortunately, that bomb is planted in a very open angle, but it's not perfect. He can still actually force this issue, force Smith out into the open. Instead, he tries to take the fight, and Smith wins it regardless.
Smith just 3 kills there, and like he said, had Steele actually just made his way to the bomb, he would have seen the plant coming in. He could have full defused that one. So that's why we saw Smith's acting in that manner. He had to face it. He couldn't allow him to actually work out where that bomb even planted. And that's such a massive round there for Titan to win. Pistol on to the 14th round and 1 away from map point here. Such a turnaround from yesterday. Luminosity with no other option than the force buy into this one. They've got a Mag 7, 3 Famases and 1 M4, no kits. This is all to play for now. They need to find a round right now. Well, they're definitely out of this one. So, round number 26. Luminosity definitely up against the ropes here.
Fallen's going to try and play up close and catch them off guard with this shotgun as well, because it's the best thing he can afford, and it's the best position he thinks he can be in with it. RPK, he jumps up on top of the box, finds Steel. That forces Cold back into hiding because they were trying to play an aggressive crossfire position. And Fallen will wait toward the big garage at this point in time as well. RPK, meanwhile, he's evaluating what's going on at B, and that means Cold's trapped at this point. There's really not an escape plan back toward the site. Scream definitely is already looking for a way to get into mid. Fallen's yet to be spotted or make any noise or indication that he might be there, but they've gone off it. They're just going to commit to A at this point in time. Fallen will hear RPK running back over from mid, so Fur and Bolts will have some sort of call that they're coming, and that allows for the flash to come out, but Bolts, he's only able to pick up 1, and RPK again, another double entry from him.
Yeah, really nice work from him, and that's the round pretty much tied up. They kind of have to go for this one. They've got 2 players remaining, Fallen and Cold Zera, no kits, and Fallen finds a kill onto Scream. Maybe they've got a chance there.
Fallen does go down immediately after, though, to Smith, who follows it up with another one on Cold.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. You can see the money absolutely devastated for Luminosity now. They'd have to get Famases, Mag 7, Scouts maybe, and see what they can do with this one. And looking at the scoreboard right now, we can see Shocks has taken the lead, and Scream as well, both on 26 frags, both playing out of their minds.
Well, that's the other thing, is Shocks, though, at the halftime had 22.
You're right, so he actually had a very quiet half.
Yeah,
right?
Cold at 21, he's on 26, so both those guys have quieted down. Regardless, it's Titan that's red hot right now. Remember, they lost 16-6 to Luminosity yesterday on this map. 15-11 in their favor. It's map point already, and they're up against whatever they could salvage for guns, for rifles on the CT camp. It's going to be 4 FAMASas, 1 M4, a scarce amount of utility. In fact, no kits. That's the bigger one.
They need to make something happen, and they need to find the first frag. They can't allow another execution to come in. They need to be pushing in like Shock's into a main, get some information, work out what's going on, and that's the play. Berg does try and make it happen, but he gets punished. Smith's just expecting it, and that's going to be pretty much the game tied up here. Not really much they can do. Bolts is going to have to make something work as well. He's going to flash through himself, get himself towards Forklift now. They're just going to wait for CTs to make mistakes, so they know it's everything to play for. And they've got no kits and no money. They need to find a frag right now.
And he's going to look toward that mid position to watch that boost, but it hasn't really been an issue for them. It hasn't been where they've been losing ground. It's actually just on the A site directly, and that's where Titan looks to go again. All 5 members want to go around the corner. That forces Bolts back fallen. He's already lost his teammate. Bolts goes down. He has to come off of the catwalk, and they're going to push through the smoke regardless. Scream with another kill. And it's down to just 2 players remaining. Make it now 1 as Scream is looking perfect again on this round. 3 kills total. He may get 4. No, not to be. Cold's going to at least get that back, but it's all done. Titan will take map 1, 16-11.
Looking much better today. Like getting on that T half. How many rounds is that in a row? Like 8 rounds in a row towards the back end of it. That T side is actually very methodical, working in set pieces when they're the right time to do so, and their CT side was much better as well, flashing into certain positions, getting map information, and looking like an actual team going forward instead of this loose mishmash of players kind of trying to work out the map and trying to force individual plays coming out. Clutch is going in their favor as well. Scream stepping up in big situations and the 2-on-X situations. He was going huge, so well played to them. Tyson looking very strong today. After taking out Navi, they get themselves in a great position now against Luminosity. This is a team that didn't even make it out of the group set, the major, so bouncing back very nicely.
That's the other storyline about what potentially could happen if they don't come back on Cobblestone against Titan, which is their map choice again. Remember, it's a repeat of yesterday.
Yeah.
Is that Na'Vi and Luminosity in the same group here at this tournament who faced each other in the quarterfinals. Na'Vi went on to play in the finals of the major.
Yeah.
Could go out to 2 teams who didn't make it out of groups.
Yeah, it's a lot of crazy stuff happening today, man.
It's literally a complete 180 of what we saw a week ago in a more important tournament, arguably speaking. No offense to CEVO.
Well,
but it's just
the biggest
ridiculous.
tournament we ever do.
I know.
I think it's a fair comment.
I got it. But yeah, I mean, that's a ridiculous storyline. I'm wondering what they think about it down on the desk. Sir Scoots, great Scott, take it away.
Oh, Sadakis.
Marty!
Oh. I'm trying to... All right. Again, Titan does it. They take Luminosity in their own map. Again, a reversal like these guys set up yesterday. A closer scoreline. But again, you know, Titan starts off as they have to, strong in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, I feel Luminosity were doing some very strange things on that CT side. I think their positioning was really off, especially around about A site, where they were going a little bit aggressive at time to time and like kind of peeking in the main when there was no need to do that. They didn't really set up any sort of competent crossfires. So after the first half they've had, I think Luminosity are looking really good. It should have been much better. Didn't really work out like that. And then Titan, what they did well this map, and this is what we were talking about before, are you going to have any entry fragging potential? Well, it turns out that they absolutely did this time around. And Scream had some nice clutches, had some nice entries, Shocks as well. Even though he doesn't like to play sort of this as this point man, he did. He was opening up sites.
Just look at the ADR on Scream and Shocks there. That's an incredibly impactful game, especially from Scream. That means there's not just only headshots there. He's hitting bullets in the people. He's got 9 assists on the board. Great play from both of them. This game was nothing like the first time they played yesterday on Cash. Totally different nature of a game. If anything, I was reminded more of when Titan was playing Cash against NIP. Similar story there. Good first half. Transitioned it into a second half. That was where they got close to winning. Then it broke down completely on T half. This time, didn't close it out on the T half. Looked strong on T half. Luminosity, it's not even like they were behind in the fragging department. They weren't. No. Cold Zero again turned up with a great performance. He was impressive. First still hanging around there. The problem is this time they had no routine on the map at all. This is why it was kind of like an interesting pick for them. I think they're just picking because of what happened yesterday.
Yeah, and I talked about how they didn't have a crossfire, especially on that A site. But another key component was Fallen was kind of a little bit missing from this game. He sort of likes to play in obviously that mid area, likes to hold that with an AWP. Wasn't really working out for him this time around. So it did seem to be a little bit of a muted performance from him, and I think that made all the difference. They didn't control that mid area, and basically Titan on that T side could go wherever they wanted. That was a key issue in why they lost.
Suddenly, this is looking like a really interesting series on this second map here.
Well, now, maybe you would have to start leaning towards the Titan 2-0 now. We're like just saying, obviously, at the start, I'm going to still stand by my prediction. I'm not going to change it as I move along. But actually, if you were coming into this and you had to place a spot bet, you go, well, Titan are going to 2-0 this because they've got Cobble.
The thing is, though, kind of like, I like what we were talking about with Dignitas. It does feel like, yes, at the beginning of the tournament, both teams were in a terrible place, the rosters didn't work, and you really wondered what these new additions had brought to the team. It's not that either's looking really good. If they blasted it completely way through the tournament in incredible form, you can go, right, they've turned the corner, it's all great, but they are gradually piecing it together. They're figuring out things that work, maps that aren't so bad, they're gradually getting some consistency on maps. Now, this would be the key here. Not only would winning on Cobble get the series for Titan, but it'd give them a couple of maps at least that they can do something on. Okay, now we know Cobble's at least a decent map for us. We've already played previously. We've got some wins before, so they're starting to get toward, they're approaching competency, basically. I'm not going to go crazy even if they win this series and say they're an awesome team, but they're starting to approach competency, so at least future matchups, now you don't feel like they're just dead in the water immediately.
Well, and maybe this is where the map choice, kind of bit them in the butt. They were confident because they beat them yesterday, but if they beat them yesterday because Titan had a bad game,
or just had
all
something
you
to
did
figure out
was
still.
show Titan how you play the game, and now they've showed up as a,
thing
as
is,
a tighter Titan.
the only real reason I think why Luminosity picked Cash is because it's specifically a bad Titan map. Not because it's something that they're, I think, amazing on. So I think they thought, right, what worked yesterday will work today,
again.
and they will pick it again.
I stand by what I said. I feel that, okay, so sure, you want to repeat of yesterday, you think it's going to be the same. But obviously, overnight, things are going to change. I think the smart pick would have been Overpass. I honestly think if Luminosity had picked Overpass, I don't think Titan can live with them right now. Not with Shox as an in-game leader. I don't think they were going to have anything on that map. They were struggling to put stuff together back in the existence era. It wasn't a good map for them. Meanwhile, we know Luminosity can play that map. That's what I would have done.
All right, well, thank you, gentlemen. We're going to come back after break, talk more on Cobble. But again, it's do or die time for our friends in Luminosity.
Yeah.
Titan just needs one more to secure their place tomorrow. Will they do it? See you after the break.
That's how we do it, yeah.